comes in, there are cells, pacemaker cells, located in this thing called the sinoatrial node. And I'll come back to that first slide in just a second. But they generate somewhere between 80 and 100, I think that's usually the number, action potentials per minute. In other words, they're the cardiac pacemaker. And these action potentials spread across the atria through these little things called internodal pathways to another group of cells which distribute the action potential. And these are sort of right here at the base of the auricle, kind of the top of the atria here, or the ventricle, I'm sorry. And this is called the AV node, atrioventricular node. So the action potentials start here, they spread to here, and now they spread down through this thing called the AV bundle, through the bundle branches, and then out through structures called the Purkinje fibers to stimulate, because we know that muscle cells respond to an electrical signal, to stimulate the muscle to contract. So if you look at the picture I'll have in just a second, the contraction wave spreads from here through the entire heart, and the heart muscle is stimulated to contract. So it's a pretty amazing, pretty cool system that our heart has. Now this is totally independent of like artificial pacemakers, which can be implanted in people if their hearts become arrhythmic. So the nodal cells are responsible for the basic cardiac rate. And the SA node has the action potentials. They go down to the AV node, and then it's distributed to various parts of the cell, to the heart. So when a person has a heart transplant, they got a new heart, the heart is beating, but it's somewhat limited in the sense that they're not going to be able to force it as high as you or I might be able to, because the other connections we have from the brain are not necessarily going to be there when the new heart is put in. So the heart has its own conducting system, and this is one of the pictures in your book. This is the other picture, which I think is a little bit more descriptive. Here are nodal cells up here, and it's in purple. I like this color. So you can see the action potential spread through the atria, down the interventricular septum, the bundle branches, and then through the Purkinje fibers into the ventricles. So the wave of contraction spreads from the atria down through the ventricles, and this just repeats time after time after time, day after day, year after year, for as long as you live. So it's pretty cool, So that's how the heart generates its own beat, so to speak. You'll get this in physiology, so you don't get it from me. You've seen these before. The electrocardiogram, maybe you've had one. I think I have. And this, of course, they hook all those leads up here, and all they're doing is measuring the electrical conductivity of the heart. And of course, the appearance on a strip or something like that, or on a computer screen, is very significant to trained medical professionals. So it's not to me, but you guys have all seen this stuff. The doctor will kind of go, your Q wave, your P wave, they're all screwed up anyway. So the only thing I know for sure is when this is flat, that's always a bad sign. Okay, that's never good. Then they're calling for the paddles, right? We had an instructor here years ago who thought that we should have like defib things here in all the rooms in case one of our students, has a heart attack or a C, or maybe in case the instructor does. Thinking to myself, yeah, I'm not going to use those things. I don't want to, be rubbing like you see on TV, rubbing them together and yelling. Anyway, so don't worry about the electrocardiogram. We'll get that in physiology. Cardiac output. This you don't really need to know anything about. I stuck this on here because somebody asked me about it one time, but it's pretty damned impressive when you think about it. How much blood you can pump. I mean, if you take an average of 72 beats a minute and about 70 mLs of blood in the heart, and you do the multiplication, you're basically pumping your entire volume in a minute or so. And at high levels of exercise, it's even higher than that. Right? So it's like physiologically, this is incredible, the amount of blood that can be pumped to the muscles. I got up this morning, I had breakfast, and actually I wasn't up yet. I reached for the remote and turned on the television because I as the former cyclist, I'm interested in the Tour de France, which is being run now in France, and today was sort of one of these days with people who've ridden bikes kind of go look forward to seeing it. It was in the Alps today, and these guys went up these giant mountains on their bikes, and I was thinking, wow, the amount of blood being pumped by these guys is just truly incredible. The physiological fitness of these people is beyond measure. Anyway, and here's just a couple of pictures from your book. So this is good. When you see the blood flowing through the coronary circulation like this, that's good. The doctor goes, yeah, looking good, Dave. No problems here. This one is like, are you kidding me? You got to get in here, man. And it's a good thing you didn't come in tomorrow, because you might have been coming in, on the ambulance. Obviously, these things are very occluded. It could be, issues with, not eating a good diet or exercise or things like that. And just some of these things, which are just, can be familial, running a family. And you probably know people, hopefully not in your family, but people have this family history of like, oh my gosh, my dad died of a heart attack, or had a heart attack when he was in his 40s, and died in a heart attack when he was 60, and my grandfather had a bad heart. Well, you got to take care of that. And sometimes what they can do is they can put little stents in, or they can put little sort of balloon catheters in there to try to open up the clogged arteries. And then sometimes they just have to bypass it. Take a little piece of, usually from your leg, bypass the blockage. So it's almost like you need to call the Roto-Rooter man, to come clean out your drains. Unfortunately, this heart's not looking so good. Well, here's where these pictures of the sheep are. They're not that great. But anyway, you guys were looking at these last night. I went over the sheep part with you last night with some of you, and found the major chambers, the chordae tendineae, and the valves, and you can see the chordae tendineae and the valves, and the myocardium, and the shiny stuff here is the endocardium, which the outside layer would be the epicardium. This would be the right ventricle. The left ventricle over here is the one which has the thicker walls, because that's the pump harder. Anyway, so I know many of you were looking at the heart last night, and I think you saw that it doesn't take very long to figure out the structures in the heart. We were having, a lot of people weren't here last night, and Patrick asked me a question I still really know the answer to, but I think I have a better handle on it. It's like, well, why should we have 3 valves on one side, on the right side, and 2 on the other one? It's like 2 and 2, or 3 and 3. And someone went, I really don't know. So I looked it up, and it has to do with some very complicated mathematics have to do with laminar flow in a closed chamber and stuff like that. So apparently it's a simpler flow on the left side where the pressure is higher, just to have 2 cups instead of 3. So who knows? If you work at a hospital and know a cardiac surgeon, ask them, and you'll see things that they might not know either.